This week on Cana and Mike's Movie Night, we're watching The Suicide Squad. Howdy and welcome to Cana and Mike's Movie Night. I'm Mike.
I'm Cana, and this is Duncan.
Yes, the Denzi kitty whose eyes you will see every once in a while float in and out of frame. There she is. This week, we are checking out the third installment, all the claws. We're checking out the third installment in DC's extended universe of motion pictures, and that is Suicide Squad, written and directed by David Ayer.
That ass.
Yes, that ass. We'll get to that ass later. So, Suicide Squad, we watched the extended cut, which is available on Blu-ray, although we did actually see the theatrical edition. We watched it in theaters. We did go spend money on it, and we liked it enough to go buy it on Blu-ray. The DC Extended Universe, which is a little late to the party compared to other shared universes of feature films that may or may not be owned by Disney, the DC Extended Universe starts with Man of Steel. The second movie is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, which we reviewed here on the channel, so go back and check that out. And then there is Suicide Squad, which is a very unlikely third choice, if we're honest, for what would be the... She's going to go after this the entire time, I think. An unlikely third choice for the franchise if you really stop and think about it. But the basic gist of Suicide Squad is that a group of hardened criminals have been gathered together by the United States government as a...
To be heroes.
Well, to be a disposable task force, to be literally a suicide squad, who can be thrown under the bus and be used as an excuse if things go wrong. If you are familiar with the Suicide Squad from the comic books, then you will recognize some of the characters in this. You may also be familiar with Suicide Squad from the Arrowverse, which is the DC television franchise, because this is really the first time that we see a phenomenon with DC that Marvel has dodged like a champ, which is having competing franchises of their own properties in the same type of media. TV to movie here, not entirely the same, but
still it's a visual kind of thing. You already have an idea of what these characters look like, sound like, what their powers are, and this alternative universe, this multiverse.
Yes.
I'm not a big DC fan, but I'm slowly getting it. What? I'm sorry. There's no point in having infinite Earths and all that other shit and having...
Marvel has it too. They just haven't put it in the movies yet.
But I appreciate that they haven't put it in the movies. I don't need to realize that there are 52 Harrison Wells and I'm only going to like 5 of them.
We're not talking about the Flash.
I'm just
but anyway,
saying.
In this,
what is this? Is this Earth 54? You know.
Well, no, because there's only 52 of them. You just anyway.
Shut up.
So,
just shut up. 50. Is this the number 50?
I don't know. But anywho, in this movie here, the Suicide Squad, we follow the team of Rick Flag, which this is his live-action debut. There's never been a live-action interpretation of Rick Flag before this.
He sounds Texan.
A little bit.
Which means he carries a big gun.
Killer Croc, again, live-action debut. Harley Quinn, which it's not her live-action debut, and Duncan found your orange yarn. Anyway, so...
It's the Suicide Squad of my yarn pile.
Well, luckily it was only 50 cents. So, anyway, and she's doing an impressive job of actually getting the label off.
All right, tangent,
Suicide
stop.
Squad. We also get Captain Boomerang, Diablo, Slipknot, not for long, Joker, Enchantress, Deadshot, and Captain Boomerang, and of course Amanda Waller pulling all the strings and being the bitch that she is. So the basic plot of the film revolves around the most powerful meta of the Suicide Squad, the Enchantress, going rogue. And basically the team being assembled to clean up Amanda Waller's mess. In something that is very common for the Suicide Squad, we do get to see that if they don't do what she says for them to do, she's got bombs planted in them and she will kill them. See Slipknot. Which they handle pretty graphically.
It's like when you look in a dictionary for bad decisions. And
yes.
His stump of a neck is the picture that they show beside it.
Bad life choices.
But I think that's because he listened to Captain Boomerang. And listening to a guy who has an Australian accent who has a fetish for pink fluffy unicorns is, again, just more directional arrows that point to poor life decisions.
So, let's talk about our stars in this film. Will Smith plays Floyd Lawton, Deadshot. Last week we talked about Independence Day Resurgence. He dodged that movie because he was making this one. And I really like Will Smith as Deadshot, which surprises me, to be honest, because he does manage to pull off being a likable bad guy.
No. I'm sorry. I'm.
So our cat is going after my wife's yarn.
She's literally digging them and picking them up like little piles of kittens.
And
carrying them off to be tortured.
And my wife is doing a lot of crocheting for our adoption, which we mentioned as a plug at the end of last week's episode. And so
I had to save the yarn.
Yes. So Will Smith's Deadshot.
I liked Will Smith's Deadshot. He had a fleshed out character. Mm-hmm. It was great that he wasn't all bad guy, because no matter what anybody tries to do when they portray a villain, their villains are not just villains. They are not 125% bad guy all the time. There's always going to be something that they care about. There's always going to be something that they will do something, for lack of a better term, good because of.
I've always said the best villain is the hero of his own story. And so Deadshot, who is definitely a bad guy, and you can definitely see him as a villain, but he is the hero of his story, and his story is trying to make a better life for his daughter. So you can see that very much in his character. Margot Robbie, or is it Robbie? Margot Robbie?
I think it's Robbie.
Okay, Margot Robbie plays Harley Quinn, which is the big screen debut of the character. And does a tremendous job basically bringing a character that was designed for cartoons. Harleen Quinzel, did not exist before the Batman animated series and was meant for those cartoons. And she really brings that character to life. She's easily my favorite character in the movie.
Oh, hands down. I love her character, and I really do like the extended version, because the theatrical version is good, don't get me wrong, but she's batshit crazy in the theatrical version. In the extended cut, we both talked about how we appreciated that they showed that she is still an extremely intelligent person who's batshit crazy.
Right. There are actually scenes where you see her getting her jollies in the extended version by psychoanalyzing her teammates. And so you see that she still has the therapeutic, the psychiatrist's mind trapped in a bundle of nuts, like just completely off her rocker. And they also show, there's a flashback in the theatrical version of her getting, her throwing herself into a vat of chemicals, very much like the Joker was in one variation of his origin. We see that we see other flashbacks with her in the extended version that aren't in the theatrical version that actually flesh her out a bit more too. So I very much enjoyed that.
Because really, for me, Suicide Squad really is kind of more of a long distance love letter between Harley Quinn and the Joker, because Joker is not in there that much.
No.
I feel like they made it feel like he was going to be an integral part.
I mean, he's on the cover, for crying out loud.
Granted, he's a little bit off kilter over here.
Yes, he is.
But from the trailers and everything like that, they made it sound like he was going to be an integral part of the storyline. And he's not. It's more of the lines of, gosh, he's a crappy-ass boyfriend, and where the fuck is he?
They use him, they basically use him in such a way of, it's Harley's origin. And so they use the Joker to show that, because they are tied together in that way. You do get a couple of really cool things, though. They actually reenact the cover from the Mad Love graphic novel, which has Harley Quinn in her classic animated series costume and the Joker in a tuxedo with a white bow tie. So you get that, which is actually a pretty cool touch. Let's talk about the Joker for a second. Jared Leto, who was incredibly divisive, Jared Leto's Joker. When you stop to figure that he follows two incredibly strong actors as the Joker on the feature film screen, and if you want to go back even farther, he follows three. There genuinely has never been, in my opinion, there has never been a bad Joker on the movie screen. If you go all the way back to Cesar Romero's Joker for his time is a hell of a character, and Romero is a tremendous actor. Jack Nicholson's Joker.
I don't like Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Oh, I love Jack Nicholson's Joker. To me, he's sort of the bar that you compare all the other ones to. You have Heath Ledger's Joker, who is equally incredible, and now you have Jared Leto. I find that your Joker is kind of like your James Bond or your Doctor. You latch on to the version you really like, and you go with that one. I mean, even Mark Hamill, tremendous as the Joker, even though his is in the animated series. What did you think of Jared Leto at playing the Joker? Because I thought he actually did a really good job.
I really liked it. I kind of at first had a hard time with the fact that he kind of looks more like a gangster in a lot of ways, with all the tattoos and everything like that. But no, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Honestly, it was kind of like combining a lot of the Jokers that we grew up watching, between the animated series and Heath Ledger's Joker. For me, I could hear hints of Mark Hamill coming out, along with some of his voice inflections reminding me of Heath Ledger. Nothing really reminded me of Jack Nicholson, but I don't like Jack Nicholson's Joker.
So, over the years, the Joker basically has had three very broad personas. He's either been the clown prince of crime, so like the Cesar Romero Joker, where he is ha-ha funny. He's the petty thief who has a lot of funny, joke-oriented gadgets and whatnot. Then you have the crime boss, which is the Jack Nicholson version of the Joker, where the Joker is this insane mob boss for all intent and purpose. And then you have the Heath Ledger version, which is the anarchist interpretation of the Joker, where he is just unhinged and any person can have a bad day and it will drive them nuts, and that style of character. Jared Leto is the Joker in the tradition of Jack Nicholson, in my opinion. He's the crime boss. It's just that where Jack Nicholson was the classic mobster, as we would think in 1989, Jared Leto is the crime boss as we would think in terms of 2016-17. So I did actually very much enjoy his interpretation of the character. I look forward to seeing it again because undoubtedly we will. I think this was an interesting way to backdoor him in. We also wound up seeing a good bit of Ben Affleck as Batman in flashbacks and such.
It's always good to see that he's getting work.
So we get that as well.
It's much better than him as Daredevil. So.
Well, there's a lot of things that are better than him as Daredevil. Viola Davis, I believe, is the woman that plays Amanda Waller.
Yes.
Bitch. She pulls off being a stone cold bitch in this movie better than anyone else has, frankly, as Amanda Waller. There have been two other live action interpretations of the character. One is in Arrow, and the other one was played by Pam Grier in Smallville. And in this one, Viola Davis just nails it. You genuinely want this bitch to die.
And she doesn't.
Movie. Yeah, and she don't. Spoilers. So you have that. The villain of the piece, assuming we're going to say that it's not Amanda Waller, is the Enchantress. What did you think of the Enchantress?
Oh my gosh, what was the fuck with the hula hooping hips? I'm like, is this supposed to make me think she's sexy? Because I hate to tell you, no.
I think it was more like tribal shaman type thing.
No. Fail. Again. Fail.
Oh, I didn't say they did it well.
Fail. Really, really fail? Enchantress?
I thought it
Didn't like her.
I thought it was a very weak villain, to be honest. It creates enough in that she's overpowering to our team, but I thought she was a very weak villain, and she realistically generated no stakes in the film. We get the giant floaty thing in the sky again, which is a recurring trope in superhero movies these days.
Because there's nothing scarier than a swirling vortex of nothingness to suck up the earth.
Well, I mean, to me, the movie really shines as a character piece for three characters.
Margot Robbie to get her own movie.
And she probably will.
No, she already has.
She has. Okay.
It's been announced.
Well, no, it's to me, it's a good character piece for Deadshot, for Harley Quinn, and then I thought they did a really good job with Diablo.
But they killed him.
Who they kill. I mean, they're called the Suicide Squad, so somebody's going to die.
Diablo. They killed already plenty.
And Diablo and Killer Croc. I really liked Killer Croc in this movie, too. The weakest member of the Suicide Squad, if you don't count Slipknot because he dies like a chump, it was probably Captain Boomerang.
There was no point for him. I could have gone the entire movie without him. He could have been the Slipknot of the movie for me.
Well, he had more character than Slipknot, but...
Just because he has a flippin' damn cat. Pink fluffy unicorn, which I don't even want to know what he does.
What do you think of the movie visually?
Stunning.
Try again. If you want the definition of visually stunning, see last week's review. So.
No, I mean, visually, it looked to me like any other superhero movie. To me, I mean, there was nothing particularly special about it. I mean, as we've already stated, swirling vortex of death is nothing new in our movies today. I was glad that they didn't have lens flare. I mean, I know that...
It felt very much like it's the same world as the other DC movies, which is good.
Well, we already knew it kind of was because they showed Batman.
Oh, no, but I mean...
I'm Batman.
I know, but it's easy to have movies set in the same universe, the same world, look disjointed. And they did a very good job of not doing that here, I felt. The soundtrack is awesome.
It is the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack-wise for the DC universe.
Yeah, and it actually drew comparisons to Guardians of the Galaxy overall, in that it's the ragtag group of misfits in a team-up movie. They're not overall as lovable as the Guardians, but it has a tremendous soundtrack that they really did an outstanding. That's the coolest part of the movie, really, is the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Your final thoughts on Suicide Squad? Obviously, we bought this one.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I will look forward to seeing some more movies with some of the characters. I mean, though, if they decide to kill Captain Boomerang, I will be totally happy with it. I don't care if it's like one of those horrible, pointless red shirt deaths. I will accept it.
I know they're doing a Batman movie. Obviously, Justice League
claws.
is getting all the claws. The Denzi Kitty is making her presence felt, literally. My overall thoughts on the film. It's a fun film. I liked it a lot. I know I'm in the minority that I'm actually liking the DC movies that are coming out.
I think they're entertaining, but they're still not my favorites.
No, they're not. I will say this. I like the Suicide Squad as a cohesive group. I like them better in Arrow. And I like the Arrow interpretations of a lot of these characters better. I like Floyd Lawton, Deadshot in both. But he's better integrated into the universe in Arrow. Captain Boomerang is a better character in Arrow. So is Katana. But Arrow has the luxury of fleshing these characters out more, where in this case, watching the extended edition, approximately a 2-hour movie does not. So,
well, that and the only one they really truly flesh out more is Harley Quinn.
Right. So, I enjoyed it. I would say cell phone down.
Cell phone down.
So this one gets 2 cell phone down, which means as good as it gets on this show. So you get a chance to check this one out. I'm sure that you may enjoy it. I will say this, much like Batman v Superman, get the extended cut. It's better. I do believe the extended cut is better than the theatrical version.
Yes.
So definitely check that out. You can get one of the wonderful messy bun beanies like my wife is making at the moment. We're raising money for our adoption. Personal note, tangent. So you can check out on Facebook, hashtag Finding Our Crayons. You can pick up something there to help with our adoption if you're so inclined. We're trying to raise money for that at the moment. Or go to our personal Cafe Press store, which is cafepress.com/thebrowns-adopt. And, of course, here on the ECS Network, we would love to get your support. So you can help us out through the Cafe Press store, cafepress.com/ECS Network. None of that money goes to line any of the hosts' pockets. That is used specifically for the network to raise money for cameras or lighting or tripods or computers or what have you. So please feel free to go there and check out some of our wonderful merch. And feel free to check us out on social media. We are on Instagram at ECS Network, and we are on Twitter at ECS Podcasts, plural. So check both of those out as well. Until next week, and truthfully, I have no clue what we're watching. Until then, I'm Mike.
And I'm Cana.
And it might be, we should really do Howl's Moving Castle.
That would be fun.
So we're doing that next week. Howl's Moving Castle we'll talk about next week here on Movie Night. Until then, we hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in Sunday.